there, friends. Dave Paulides, Canadian Missing Project. This is executive producer Huck, and she's just been outside running around like a wild girl, huffing and puffing and having fun. Yeah, that's a good girl. Hey, that's a good girl. You've been a good puppy today. Yeah, you have. And she's huffing and puffing. She's been good. It's about 75, 78 degrees outside. She's gonna hang out. I'll be remiss if I don't say this, but this is Huck TV. It's her channel. She's the queen of the show. And I show this every once in a while because somebody sent it to me and I think it's just great. It's a Huck hat. Yes, a Huck hat. You can believe that. So nice of people. And we are going to have a very interesting show today. Very detailed, as a matter of fact. Many of you sent me this case. And if you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @CanAmMissing, then I've talked about this at length, but I haven't done it on YouTube. It involves two kids that went missing in Nova Scotia. And honestly, I thought it would have been resolved by now, one way or another. I have no idea what happened to the kids. I'm going to give you my thoughts about my professional experience in dealing with missing children and parents, how they respond, what to expect, etc. Now, first of all, this is where the case happened. A little place called Pictou County, right here in Nova Scotia. Now, to give you some perception, here's Oak Island. If you watch that show, Oak Island Treasure, the Laginas, and then it's a 2-hour and 17-minute drive to the location in Pictou County. They lived on Gairloch Road. I'll show you a picture of that a little bit later, but Lilly and Jack Sullivan, 6 and 4 years old, went missing May 2nd, 2025. Yes, this year, not too long ago. They were reported to the RCMP at 10 a.m. They lived with their mom and their stepdad. The mom's name was Malaya and the dad's name was Daniel Martel. This is mom and dad. Or stepmom and dad. Stepdad, real mom. So the two kids, Lilly and Jack, had a different father. Now, these two had a 1-year-old child that also lived in the house. To me, that is a big part of this case that you will hear nothing about. I'll get to that later. So they lived on a place called Gairloch Road, Pictou County, Nova Scotia. Very rural residence off a 2-lane highway that backs up into the woods about 25 kilometers south of Glasgow. Now, from the air, this is what the residence looks like. 2-lane highway right here. Dirt road up to their residence, surrounded by woods behind the home. Now, I read a lot of search and rescue reports about this. And there's a lot of deadfall in that area back in there. Now, the children went to a place called Salt Springs Elementary School in Salt Springs, Nova Scotia. Here's where the story is a little bit strange. They were reported missing May 2nd. April 30th, which is a Wednesday, the kids didn't attend school because the teachers had a professional development day. Okay. Thursday, they didn't attend school because they said that Lilly had a cough and they held both kids back. Okay. Friday, May 2nd, kids didn't go to school again. Supposedly sick. So let's start off this Friday, May 2nd, 9 o'clock. Malaya and Daniel are in their bedroom with their 1-year-old baby. The couple have been together for 3 years. Lilly supposedly came in and out of that room several times in the morning. Jack was heard by both of them in the kitchen. They state that there's a back sliding door that is really quiet that they believe the kids exited the house from. Lilly and Daniel, 6 and 4 years old. Lilly was 6, Jack was 4. Both went to the same school. 9:15 a.m., Daniel, the stepfather, starts looking for the kids, couldn't find them. Got into his vehicle and he says he drove all the dirt roads in the area looking for the kids. That was his quote. He didn't say he drove the asphalt road, the 2-lane road, just the dirt roads. Looked around for 45 minutes, came home, and they called the RCMP. It wasn't long before the RCMP arrived. They quickly called for more assistance. More units started arriving. At 12:25, RCMP had been there less than 2.5 hours. They make a news release stating that 2 children were missing from Lansdowne Station. That's a small area that they're in. And they request if the public has seen any kids or has any knowledge of the disappearances to contact the RCMP. And then they immediately say there's no evidence of abduction. They've been out on scene less than 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and they say there's no evidence of abduction. I don't quite know how they could say that. That seems awfully quick to pull that out. 4:55 p.m. same day, RCMP tell the public to stay out of the area of the search, which is ongoing. And they issue a vulnerable missing person alert for Picton County, Nova Scotia. RCMP decided to keep searchers in the woods through the night. Okay. Now, I've told you before, kids don't move at night. They sleep. I understand the need to keep somebody out there. Realistically, it's not going to do any good. Kids are going to bundle up, find a little cubby somewhere, by some boulders. Sometimes they just lay on the ground and they sleep. Well, the very next day, May 3rd, the RCMP had already made a contact on the 2nd with other search and rescue organizations saying, hey, we're going to need you. Well, they called for a major search and rescue. And they got it. They got 100 searchers, multiple canine teams, drones, and helicopters with FLIR. And that search went on all day. They relieved the guys and ladies that were in the woods all night. And now the RCMP did something that I completely have no idea why they did it, unless they're not telling us everything. 5:26 p.m. they issue a wider alert for Pictou, Colchester, and Antigonish counties. Why issue a 3-county alert if there's no abductions? Friends, these are 4 and 6-year-old kids. They're not going to walk across multiple counties. So why did the RCMP do that if their public statement is that the kids have not been abducted, and they're still claiming that? I don't get it. Now, on that May 3rd, Malaya, the mom, made a statement to the press and Canadian TV news. She says, I want you to listen to this statement closely. I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them, and I want them home. Then the article said, well, the mother had been pushing for the RCMP to issue an Amber Alert. And she states, not just that, but they could possibly be abducted, which is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know they are missing. Multiple sentences there. There's experts out there that decipher the way somebody talks, language. One thing I found a little odd is that the mom never mentioned their name in any of those statements. You know, Lilly and Jack, we miss them a ton. I want to know where my kids are. I want them back. Never their name. And then after they interview Malaya, the RCMP says it again, that there's no evidence the kids were abducted. Okay. They're pushing that avenue real hard. I get it. 6 p.m. that night, the Salvation Army shows up. They arrive on scene, and they start feeding all the searchers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they make a statement, and they say, we need well-fed searchers with energy. If you're a long-time follower of me, you know I'm a huge advocate of the Salvation Army. I know everyone has their stories about these groups, but I can only give you mine. When I was a policeman, we had a disaster in a certain part of town. And I was working street crimes then, and they pulled us off to do like patrols, this certain area from 7 at night to 7 in the morning because of looting. And the Salvation Army came in and established their trailers, cooks. They were the nicest people, never asked for anything. No, you guys can't pay me. This is free. We're doing this as a service to everybody who's working out here. We were all blown away. So I truly support them. And I know other people are going to say, oh, they're horrible, they're this, they're that. Like I've told you before, the test of someone and the test of an organization is at a time of high need, how do they react? Do they try to benefit from your loss and your need? No, they did not. They came to help, to aid, to serve. That's all I could ask. On a side note, while I'm reading everything I could about this story, there's a weird note in the Canadian TV log that Nova Scotians should start to feel relieved to know that in 2026, Nova Scotia is going to have the ability to use text on their phone. What? Nova Scotians can't text on their phone? I read it 3 times. I couldn't believe it. You know, you kind of think that Nova Scotia is hip with the 21st century, but I guess not. May 4th,
160 searchers were hindered in their search efforts to find Lilly and Jack because heavy rain covered the entire region. And they had a difficult time staying in the primary search zone 24/7 because it was so cold and so wet. We talk about weather being a factor on these searches under Missing 411. Well, obviously the kids weren't dressed for rain. May 5th, a footprint is found by searchers, but they refused to say where they found the print, how big it was. Was it a footprint or a track? Track from a shoe or a footprint? No clarity. And they said that they expanded the search and focused into that area with drones and FLIR and ground pounders. They never stated where it was or if they found multiple tracks. May 6th, kids missing now 5 days. Daniel, the stepfather, tells CBC, Canadian Broadcasting News, that Malaya has left her home for another area of the province and then blocked him on social media. What? So, I've been on several searches for kids. I have never heard, nor have I ever read, of a mother leaving the search headquarters, which in this instance is essentially their home, to go to another part of the city to get away from what's happening there. I have never heard that. I've never heard of a father doing that. It was never explained why she left, nor did Daniel explain. At that same time, the maternal grandmother for the kids, Lilly and Jack, stated to the press that she was told by the RCMP to not talk to the press. What? What? Why would the RCMP tell any family member to not talk to the press? That's another one I've never heard of. To me, I think it's bizarre. Here's why. On search and rescue of missing people, you want everybody in that community talking about the case. You want their photo in everyone's mind, front and center. So if they see somebody, they're thinking of those kids. You want Nova Scotia, you want every place talking about these kids. Why would the RCMP tell relatives to not talk to the press? But I have even a better question. The press wrote that down. Where's the logical next question? At the next press conference, why not ask the RCMP, hey, did you tell the parents that they can't talk to us? Well, yeah, we did. Why? A logical question. We're the press. Why can't they talk to us? What are you hiding? What does the public need to know? I'm telling you, journalism does not exist today. Nobody asks the right questions. Nobody cares. It's an embarrassment. May 7th, 2 p.m. The RCMP says that they're scaling back the search and rescue for the kids. They stated that the searchers are literally exhausted, and the RCMP doubts that the kids could still be alive. They said that they searched 4 square kilometers. That's just about 1.54 square miles. Not enough. No, not enough. Here's why. Search and rescue parameters on a 4 to 6 year old child in a mountain surrounding, 95% are found in 2.3 miles or less from the point last seen, meaning the house. 25% are found just 1/10 of a mile away. 50% are found 1/2 a mile away. 75% are found 9/10 of a mile away or less. In 2% of the cases, kids are never found. Now, we're not talking about 411 cases. Just talking about missing cases in general. Survivability, less than 24 hours if the kids are found, it's 98%. More than 24 hours, it drops to 38%. That's a huge drop, more than 50%. 48 hours, it's 33%. 72 hours, 0%. I found that astounding. And I actually do not believe that is true, because I know I've had cases of kids 4 to 6 years old that have been gone many, many days that were found alive. So I'm not sure why they use that stat. Now, if they went missing on flat ground rather than a mountainous area, 95% are found in 4.1 miles or less. Mountain setting, 95% are found in 2.3 miles or less. 95%, not 100. Remember, I've given you cases before where kids are found miles and miles and miles away that they can't answer for. So if the RCMP covered just 1.54 square miles, that's not nearly enough. I don't care what they say. They need to go out at least 3 miles from the point last seen in a 3-mile radius from that house, and they didn't do it. So as I stated, the area has a lot of deadfall, what makes it difficult for searchers to get through, and it makes it equally difficult for kids to get through. May 8th, the RCMP closes the command center and drives it away. Daniel, the stepfather, says the RCMP Major Crimes Unit interviewed him at the Stellarton RCMP detachment. Interesting. Search is over. Child's been missing. Kid's been missing 8 days. Far too long to wait to interview him. I'm sorry. At the end of day 3 of searching and they hadn't found those kids, parents are coming in. I don't care if I bruise their feelings. I'm not here to make them happy. I'm not here to make sure I don't bruise their feelings. I'm here because I'm talking about law enforcement, because I'm an advocate for the child. Nobody else is speaking up for those kids. And the number one job is to find those kids alive. When you wait to day 8, chances of them being alive, almost nil. You can't wait that long. Now, they brought him into the station. Okay, that's good. Don't interview him at his house. Interview him at the station, sterile environment where you control the surroundings. I get it. Daniel says he had asked them to take a polygraph test. And he told that to the press. The press asked the RCMP if that was true. They wouldn't even acknowledge it. Major mistake by the RCMP not giving that guy a polygraph when he walked in that door. Huge mistake. I stated before that the Child Abduction Task Force of the FBI has the best law enforcement officers anywhere on that team. I've met them. They're unbelievable. They're exactly who I'd want finding my child. And I guarantee on day 3, they would have been pulling those parents in to do a polygraph. Now, when I talk about polygraphs, not all of you, many of you start complaining, oh, they're worthless, they're not admitted into court. I don't care. I don't care. You don't understand the tool. A polygraph isn't just sitting down on the machine and getting wired up. Your polygraph exam starts when you walk in that door. And you look at the examiner, and you look at the investigator, and you start answering questions. And they're watching your mannerisms. They're watching your eyes. They're watching how you react. because all of those men and women have been to behavioral courses, and all of this tells them something about you. If you're hiding something, if you're being open and honest, then they give you a sheet to fill out. And they work off that sheet on the polygraph. And while you're filling out that sheet, they're also watching you. And really, I would probably say that 70% of the cases are solved before the polygraph ever gets going. I can't tell you any more than that, but that's just the truth. Major mistake. I would say that the FBI task force would have had this case solved at day 3 or 4. I'm just saying. May 9th through the 12th, well, first of all, May 8th through the 9th, the RCMP stated that they had a dive team search the ponds and the swamps in the area thoroughly. They found nothing. On May 9th, they acknowledged, I can't believe they did this. They acknowledged, RCMP stated that they had been spelling Lilly's name wrong. It should be with 2 L's. Okay, that's great. Thank you. May 13th, Lilly and Jack had been missing for 12 days. At 12:54, the RCMP says that they are still investigating the case. They followed up on 180 tips, 35 formal interviews, which I don't think is that much. They never said, but they should have been using a behavioral analyst. Talk about mannerisms and things. May 15th, the RCMP makes another public statement that there's no evidence of abduction. Okay. Again, the press should have asked this. If there's no evidence of abduction, and you've searched and the kids aren't out there, where are they? Logical question, right? I want to see them answer. What are they going to say? Where are they? Friday, May 16th. Again, the kids were missing May 2nd. Kevin McLean, Colchester Search and Rescue, stated searchers would go into the area again on Saturday and Sunday, the 17th and the 18th. Same day, experts on search and rescue and on criminal behavior said that this case is an anomaly. It's an anomaly because there's no evidence where the kids are. And many experts were very befuddled because of that. May 17th, 100 searchers covered new areas and went over old areas previously searched. May 18th, 115 searchers worked all day, more than 12 hours. They stopped at 8 p.m. and the RCMP said that them and the searchers were evaluating results. I'm not sure what that means. If you go out there and 100 searchers find nothing, what are you evaluating? Just a logical question. Also, there's a man named Glenn Brown, 26 years RCMP dog handler, spoke to the press. He said, the fact that the kids haven't been found is just really strange. That's what he said. He said, quote, I find it hard to believe that a 6 and 4-year-old would just disappear like that. And then the news article stated that Glenn had worked hundreds of these search cases. May 23rd. The Halifax community has been devastated. An article from Halifax, written in Halifax, said that they'd been devastated. School counselors had been showing up for parents and kids. The entire community was shaken. Daniel Martel, the stepfather, made a statement that the RCMP told him by email that he was not to give updates to anyone. So now we have the maternal grandmother and you have Daniel Martel both saying they can't talk to the press. So Lilly and Jack's maternal grandmother made that statement earlier. I have never heard of this, ever. And I want to know, why isn't the press asking the RCMP why these people can't talk to us? Explain. You want the press and the public thinking about these kids. So kids have not been found. RCMP has not stated it's a criminal investigation. They've not stated that they're done searching. But I'm going to go over some things with you that I think are major mistakes. First of all, this happened in a very small community in Nova Scotia. Don't have a lot of crime, don't have a lot of disappearances. So you're dealing with people that don't have a lot of experience in dealing with major incidents like this. If I was a family member, yeah, I'd be concerned. Number one, RCMP should have polygraphed the mom and the dad on day 3. Standard FBI abduction protocol. And this allows the investigators to focus where they should be focused. Not scattered like a shotgun looking at everything, wondering what's going on with the parents, what's going on with the landscaper, there's no landscaper, but I'm just saying, focus like a rifle shot on where it should be, not everywhere. You're scattering your resources. You're diluting your effort. Number 2, why in the heck did the mother, Malaya, leave the area of the province and then cut off Daniel from her social media? Now, Daniel made some statements that there were some rumors flying around social media that are really bad. I haven't seen them. And he wanted to call them right away, and that's why he told the RCMP, hey, put me on the polygraph. I gotta say that criminals guilty of something, you usually never say that. So I'm a little surprised, but I'd still put him on the poly. Never in the history of me researching missing children have I heard of a mother leave a home or search and rescue headquarters while the search was going on. Never heard of it. Huge mistake. Huge mistake by RCMP. Right here in front of the house is a 2-lane highway. Sometime between 9 and 10 o'clock on May 2nd, those kids disappeared. RCMP should have put up roadblocks on that street between 8 and 11 a.m. and then again between 4 and 7 p.m. and stopped every car going up and down that road on day 4 or 5. Why, Dave? Because there's no doubt that cars had traveled up and down that road during the time frame that the kids disappeared. If you didn't really know that there was a crime that was occurring, maybe what you saw didn't mean a lot to you at the time. Were there kids standing next to a car on the roadway in front of that house? Did you see kids walking down the roadway from the house at that time? All those things, you briefly stop the people, say, hey, we're investigating the disappearance of 2 kids from this house. We want to know if you had driven by it during this time span on Friday. Quick, easy, and they're on their way. But if you never stop anyone, you will never find the answer there. Because you'll never find it. The people won't know. Stop everybody. It's not a big inconvenience when you're talking about 2 children. What response did the dog handlers have those first 2 or 3 days that they were on site looking for Lily and Jack? I'd want to know. And if I was the search organizer, I'd be calling them in and asking them, did the dog pick up a scent out there deep in the woods? Now, obviously in the yard, the kids live in the yard. The scent's all over the yard. So that's irrelevant. Going back into the woods, did they track a scent from the yard to deep into the woods, deep into 100 yards? If they didn't, it makes me question what we're doing there. What was the result and the finding with the footprint they found? And I want to see the picture. All these questions, it's not to point fingers at what somebody's doing wrong. That's not what this is about. There's only one thing this is about. It's finding those kids. Period. If you're going to have a bruised ego, then you shouldn't be involved in this business. Sit around a conference table, 7 or 8 of the principals involved in this case. Major crimes investigator, search and rescue organizer, etc., dog handlers. And you go around and everybody answers this question. It's got to be done. Did the RCMP Major Crimes Unit interview the parents separately? I hope they did. Did when the officers responded to their house to take the original report, did they search the house? Because that's item number 1. Every time. Every time. Not even a question. You'd be surprised how many times during that initial search you find kids sleeping under their bed or something really dumb. What was the point in bringing back searchers days after they said that the kids were probably deceased? Did they get new information? Were they just throwing bait out into the creek hoping something would bite? I don't understand. Did the family have a computer? If they did, I'd get a search warrant and I would seize the computer and I would have a forensic examiner go through it. I would see all the searches done on that thing in the last 2 weeks. And then I would go through every email sent from that computer in the last month. Therein lies a lot of good leads. Now, I don't know if they have a computer. I'm just saying that standard protocol would have done that. Now, truthfully, every time I've ever been involved in something like this and those statements were made, the parents always would say, yeah, take it. Don't need a search warrant, take it. Look for it. Clear me. I want you to focus on what's going on out there because it's not me. Many times the police will say, hey, if you're selling a little weed, if you're doing something like that, we don't care. If we find out you're doing that, I don't care. We are interested in finding your children. Please understand that. You and me are on the same page. In one of the articles about this, that man, Glenn Brown, 26 years dog handler for the RCMP, said he can guarantee that every searcher going home is carrying Jack and Lily on their back. I guarantee it's true. I guarantee it's true. The men and women that I've worked with on these things care more than you can ever imagine. It's something you just can't get out of your system. This is one of those cases that would keep me up nights. First of all, I don't believe the RCMP searched far enough from the house. You and I know how far kids can travel because I've exposed that. Even though the terrain may be filled with downfall and things, somehow they're able to manage great distances at times. And if they don't go out and search there, they're never going to find the kids. And there were rumors that the RCMP had stated to Daniel that they didn't have a polygraph examiner in the area to do it. Those were some rumors I read somewhere. I don't know if it's true. Hey, RCMP, call the FBI in Seattle. They'll have an examiner, or correction, call the FBI in Boston. They're on the East Coast. They'll have an agent on a plane and they'll be in Halifax within a couple hours. Do it. If you don't have one in your area, I know the FBI would help. Their polygraph examiners are the best in the world. Do it. Friends, send up a prayer for Jack and Lilly. One last comment. You know what name was never, ever brought up in this investigation? By the parents? By anyone? It was the name of the 1-year-old that they had together. Thanks for being here. Seriously, pray for the kids. Be kind. Paulides out.